We continue our conversation now with Delaware Governor Mike Castle. I wanted to get your opinion on just a few things since we're wrapping up right now. President Obama, as you look back, how has he done?
I don't think he's done very well at all. I think he's been a bit of a disappointment, which is too bad. He seemed so qualified. He's so articulate and obviously bright. But the administration has just struggled. This whole business with the health care has been a drainer of time and energy for them, and that's been a bit of an issue. Our foreign policy has been, in my judgment, rather shaky. It's hard for me to judge exactly what we're doing in places like Iraq, for example, and that's concerning. And I don't think his policies have really done particularly well. The polling shows that. I mean, he's polling below 50%, and that's an issue for a president. So I can't give him particularly high marks, but the thing that bothers me the most is he's just not spent time with the congressional leadership, either party, which you have to do sometimes because it is a system in which you need to go through a Congress to get to a president, and he just has not spent the necessary time cultivating those relationships. And I think that Vice President Biden has done pretty well in that area, but I don't think the president's done well at all.
He's had a very difficult time getting a lot of things that he said were important to him through Congress. And at the same time, Republicans in Congress have had a difficult time getting through anything through the Senate when the Democrats controlled the Senate. Are you blaming him for that? Are you saying he didn't establish enough of a relationship? Was there any blame to be put on Congress?
Oh, sure. There's always blame to be put on Congress. But the point is that the president is the one person in Washington, D.C. who can actually bring everybody together, can form coalitions to make sure that things get done. Nobody else can do it. No leader in the House or Senate can really do that, but a president can. So for that reason, even though Republicans can be blamed, even some Democrats can be blamed, the bottom line is that it's the president who could make the difference, and I don't think he worked hard enough at it. And that's my greatest criticism of him.
I talked to a couple of other former congressmen that were talking about what it used to be like, and that we didn't always have to go back and do all this fundraising that we had to do. We got time to spend time together. And you had friends who, if you're a Republican, you had friends who were a Democrat. If you're a Democrat, you had friends who were Republicans, and they blame that for the current problems. They said we don't have relationships anymore. There's teams now, and it's a fight. Have you seen that in your time?
Oh, yeah.
That change?
I mean, I've seen it, and it's partially the media to some degree. I mean, you've got the Fox TV operation, going after Democrats. You have MSNBC going after Republicans. There's a lot more polarization within the media itself. You don't just have an ABC or CBS, NBC's giving a balanced report on something. And that's become a huge issue. The business of being able to attack immediately with the use of computers and the internet, et cetera. I mean, you vote on something in Washington, D.C., and the next day in the news will be criticism of your vote. You either spent too much money or you hurt children or women or whatever the heck it may be. And we're seeing a lot of that. So there's just a lot of, for the purpose of selling advertising or building up a political party one way or another, there's a lot of sniping going on that didn't go on before. Actually, on the floor of the House and Senate, there's more friendship than one might realize. Of course, the other problem is money. The
right.
Fundraising is just very difficult now.
You'd be for a campaign finance reform?
Some type I've always been for campaign finance reform. I would even consider public financing of campaigns just to get rid of the whole problem of dealing with the money issues as far as elections are concerned.
I wanted to bring up one quick story because I've always been a fan of yours, and I've met you a couple of times. And I was down when I was anchoring in Philadelphia covering the impeachment hearings of Bill Clinton, and I was talking to a lot of people on both sides, and everybody had quick answers. Everybody knew their positions and were taking sides, just like we were talking about. And I met you on the train. I interviewed you quickly about how you were going to vote. And you seemed pained, unlike anybody else I saw down there. You seemed like you were really soul-searching on what was the right thing to do. And I was so impressed by that because it was I think people lost that was a difficult, no matter what side you were on, it was a difficult time in American history.
Oh, yes.
And it was historic,
Yeah.
what was happening. And I think you felt the moment more than anybody else I interviewed. Is that the case?
Clearly it was a case. First of all, I knew Bill Clinton fairly well. We were governors together. He, I considered him to be a friend, and I'd actually helped with the crime bill and a couple of things he was working on. And it was very difficult for me. On the other hand, I was convinced he had not told the truth in terms of grand jury, et cetera. And I ended up voting for one of the 4 counts on the indictment on the basis he had not told the truth in that particular case. But it was tough. That's as difficult an issue as I've gone through. Plus, there was huge pressure going on from both sides. Calls into the office, letters into the office. Which didn't make it very pleasant either. But that was as tough a vote as I've ever cast.
It didn't seem like it was as tough for many people, and when I saw that, I was always impressed with you because I thought that you didn't just, you were really voting the way you believed, and we need more people like you. There's no way I can convince you to run again?
There's no way. You're going to convince me. And start with Jane Castle, not me.
Okay, we'll have to bring her in. Sir, thank you so much.
Thank you,
I really
sir.
appreciate you spending the
Take care of
time.
yourself.
Former Governor of Delaware, Mike Castle, former Congressman of Delaware, Mike Castle. That's it for the Delaware Way. I'm Larry Menti. Stick around for another thing.